Take one.
Aho! Bonjour everybody, how you guys doing? Thanks for tuning in for a great presentation we have lined up here. We have our elder in our community here, my father, which I'm honored to introduce. He's from the White Earth Band of Ojibwe. We're originally from the Poncefair area. He moved down to Minneapolis when I think he was about 11 or 12. 12 years old. He moved down to Minneapolis, and that's where he was located for 25 years or so.
Yep.
25 years, and he moved up here to Stacy, Minnesota. But I'm gonna open it up here with a good way. Best way I know how is to open it up with my voice. I use my voice for the people. Whenever I get called on to use my voice, I make sure that I sing my best and try my hardest. So I'm gonna sing a song here that in honor of my brother who passed away in 2016. One of his favorite songs that he loved to sing was the flag song. So I'm gonna go ahead and sing a couple push-ups of that in honor of him, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Joe here. We got a saw in the background over here in the woods. All right, well, here we go. All right. That's one of our songs that came from, that's the flag song. You know, the Ojibwe people adapted that song, but from what I've been taught by my elders, my drum teacher who taught me how to sing, my uncle, who I'm proud to call Mr. Jerry Dearly, he told me that that flag song there came from the Mandan area in North Dakota. Back in, I want to say 1978, I believe that's when he said that song was made. And so a lot of tribes adapted that song, and throughout Indian country it's used as the flag song in honor of our staffs and our flags, in honor of our veterans that fought in those wars, for us to be here today. You know, it makes me think about, I've been told that, you know, we pray for the future. We pray for our generations to come after us. But you know, one thing that I think about that I've been taught is, you know, our ancestors that passed away, that gave their lives, they prayed too. And they prayed for the future. They prayed for us to be here. Us, me, my dad, my kids watching, my kids that are coming after my kids, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, his great-great-grandchildren. He's finally going to be a great-grandpa here soon. Great-grandpa. August, his first one's going to be born. And so, you know, it's a really great honor here to have this great man that I call my father, Joe, here. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Joe. He's going to share some stories. He's going to share his knowledge with us about living in this crazy world that we live in. You know, this thing, this event that Andai Young, my work, my place of employment that we're putting on, it's called Culture is Prevention, Walking in Two Worlds. So what we have to figure out these days is how we're going to walk in these two worlds as being natives, on how to live traditionally and at the same time, and how we function in this society that we live in today of computers and technology and money and all the crazy things that are going on these days. You know, there's crazy things going on with the police and such, you know. And Joe here was part of the uprising of the American Indian movement back in 1970. 66. Oh, what? 1966. And so, you know, that's a long time that this uprising has been happening. You know, it's because they were taking, they were.
It's a Cooper hawk. See that one? That's my medicine bird right there.
Flying right over us.
It's a second-degree hawk. He comes circle us.
That was amazing there. We just had a visitor. Bird came and visited us, said hello. So, you know, that's good things. Good things like that, you know, show us that the Creator is listening to us. You know, we're trying, you know, here to educate and do our best way that our kids and our futures can prosper after us. And so, you know, I've been blah, blah, blahing a little bit. And so let's give it to my father here, Joe, Mr. Joe BigBear. And I'm going to pass it off to him. So I say thank you guys for letting me sing the song. And I'm going to go ahead and be the Mr. Cameraman for Joe. So I'll talk to you guys later here. Thank you.
All right. Waiting for the camera.
Zoom in a little bit here.
Zoom. Okay, I want to start here. I'll start off by saying a simple word that has a lot of meaning to it. Huh? I'll say bonjour. That means hello. But you know where that word came from, bonjour? There were stories in our ways about one of our Manadus. We call them Manadus. One of our Manadus way back. His name was Nana Buju. And so when we kind of say, what does Nana Buju, that spirit, look like? Can you draw a picture of him? Can you take a picture of him? Think about Nana Buju. You know what Nana Buju looks like? It looks like you. You're all Nana Buju. You think of yourself. You're all spirits. We are all sitting here as spiritual people. We are spiritual beings. Think of yourself as a spirit. Just like this gekek that come here, huh? He just come, made one little circle, and he went, took off. Our way is ceremony. You know, it's who we are as Anishinaabe. And it's really hard living in this world today in doing ceremony. Ceremony, remember this. This is important. Important lesson for you and other people that are going to watch this tape. Our ceremonies won't come to you. But listen to what I'm saying here. The sweat lodge won't come to you. Our Medewan ceremonies won't come to you. Our current powwows, that powwow circle, it won't come to you. You have to go find it. And to survive in this world, going to sweat lodges, going to Medewan ceremonies, going to powwows, you have to prepare yourselves and you have to plan. Okay, Jesse mentioned the American Indian movement. And right now we're in the middle of some very hard times in the cities over these young people getting shot by police. You know, this George Floyd and this other young man in Brooklyn Center. These are hard times. Children should not be shot. And what angers the community so much is George Floyd was kneeled on for 9 minutes and some seconds. And that young man was shot, and he was unarmed. You think of that, you know, by that Officer Potter. That shouldn't happen. And those are um, bad things, huh? For anybody to lose their life, we think about that, okay? We're all here, and think of this, we're here in 4 generations, huh? All of us here, we think about, look around. We've got a young man over here, he's 4 years old now. But he's pretty much dependent on somebody to raise him all the way up till he turned 4 and maybe a few more years yet. You know? And that's your first life is your baby, a child. I even gave him a nickname, Baby Shark. Because that's one of his favorite songs, huh? Baby Shark. And he will go off and he knows it all. And he always ends with Grandpa Shark, huh? He likes that song. And that's your first life. And then your second life is where you all are. You become a young person. You start having to make decisions. And that's one of the hardest things about your ages when we first moved to the Minneapolis. My mom moved us there. There was a lot of hard decisions, you know. I was lucky that I could look at my parents because I grew up in a hard life. You guys are very fortunate you didn't grow up the way I grew up. 'Cause my mom and dad pretty much drank every day, alcohol. My dad was a chronic alcoholic who died from cirrhosis. I was holding his hand. But in that second life, that's when you have to make those decisions. Shall I try drinking? Shall I try cigarettes and smoking? Shall I try marijuana? Those are hard things to think about. Shall I try, because one of your friends says, oh, you want to feel good? Let's have fun. Shall I take this pill? Oh, this little white powder here. Take this straw and sniff it. Should I snort that? You know? Somebody might give you something else with a needle and say, should I shoot it up here? Oh no, don't shoot up there, shoot on your belly. Nobody can see that. Tracks. Those are hard decisions in this world. You know? Decisions of drinking, and that's your age right now as young people. Should I try it the first time? Well, let me tell you how old I was first when I did it. I grew up with a stepdad. Very proud to call him my dad. His name was Jimmy Weaver. He was a stepdad to me. But I didn't know he was a stepdad till I was about 11 years old. Right? He raised me since I was smaller than Baby Shark. When my mom was pregnant, about 6 months pregnant, my real dad went off into the service, Korean War. He went to Korea. But while he was gone, my mom had two more kids. Along came my sister Duncan and Freddie. In that little few years that he was gone over to the service. And so I came to know him, my stepdad, as Dad. I never knew anybody else. But my dad came back from the service, and my mom and them never got back together again. So I never knew my dad. Finally, one day, I'm about 11 years old, and they said to me, it's a true story. They said to me, "This is your dad." I said, "What?" I was shocked. I didn't know that. To me, he was my just another man. His name is Cubby Bear. His real name is George BigBear. That's your real dad. Oh, really? He said, "Yeah, my boy, you want to come spend a day with me?" Yeah. That's kind of how I went. Yeah. All right. So he got in the car, and we were in Park Rapids, and he was with his mom and dad, and they drove to Ponsford, way back in the woods. We were in Park Rapids at the time. We had a white house there. But anyways, they drove to Ponsford. Drinking. Think about that. They didn't drink just beer. They had what they called then was G's. Couple of gallons. Huh? Gallons of white port. It was illegal for our people to drink on the reservation. So they would drive to town, which was Park Rapids liquor store, go get the alcohol, and then have to drive back. They're actually sneaking the alcohol back on the reservation. So we got back, and everybody was tired and went to bed. Now, the next morning, here's where my first experience came in. My dad said, "Come on, my boy, we're going for a walk." So I got dressed. Just a little guy. It's about 11, I think. And we went walking back in the woods. There was a big log just like that one over there. And he went, sat down it, but he was carrying his gallon of white port. It was a big gallon. That's what he drank. He just carried it, and he went, sat down by a tree, and guess what? He fell asleep. And I sat there maybe a half hour, an hour, and I got thirsty. I was really thirsty because it was hot. So what did I do? I reached over and I grabbed his pretend this is a gallon of white port, huh? I reached over and I drank it. I drank that wine, and I had to drink it like he did, though. Put it on my finger like that. Oh, put the cover back on. I set it back down. It was my first time ever drinking. It was white port. And guess what? After a few minutes, I don't know how long, my dad was still sleeping. I took it and I tried it again. Drink some more. I drank some more. I don't know how many shots I had, maybe about 4 shots by now. And that's a lot. And it wasn't just a little small zip. I took big drinks. You know what I mean when I say take a big drink? That's what I did. But after a while, you drink a lot like that. After a while, you gotta go pee. So I got up for the first time and I started walking over there. And I was walking like, oh, I was kind of miigwech. Yeah, I got a whole bunch of sugar. I'll talk about that in a minute here, some of these medicines. But I went walking back over there, take my pee. Then I was kind of staggering, and I knew I was dizzy. I got that feeling from that wine. After I don't know how long, I got back. I sat down, a couple more zips. My dad woke up. We went back. We went back to the. We walked back to the house. I kind of was. He was staggering, and I was staggering too. And he never noticed the thing about me. He never knew I did that. See what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, when you get to that age of making that decision, because someday that's going to be in your hand. Someday, that alcohol, that medicine will be in your hand. Just like this medicine here that Jesse picked some sugar will be in your hand someday. And you have to make that decision, huh? You don't know how much will affect you. Think about that. Even this chaga, even this medicine, you don't know how much you should take. If I took a little bite of it, right now they're saying there's a drug out there. It's called fentanyl, and they're mixing it in with other drugs. I'll just say that. Some say cocaine, some say heroin, some say other drugs. They're mixing it. And it takes just a little tiny bit, like a speck. You can't even hardly see it. I don't know if you can see it on my finger, but a little tiny speck that will kill you. Fentanyl is one of the most dangerous drugs there is. Because a little tiny speck, that's all it takes. You think about other pills, right? You see how big this is? Think of an aspirin, a baby aspirin, huh?
Yeah.
That's just a little tiny speck. And that's like 10 fentanyls, the size of a baby aspirin. So you think of that, how dangerous those drugs can be. And a lot of people die from drugs. You know? Those are hard choices that our young people, that you all are facing. Because somebody's going to ask you someday, and you have to prepare yourself. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Think about it. What are you going to say when maybe it's somebody you want to be your boyfriend, or somebody you want to be your girlfriend? What if they say to you, let's try this? What if it's your brother or your sister or your best friend at school? What are you going to say? Or maybe you're going to be crazy like I was by yourself. Oh, I'm going to try drinking this wine because I'm thirsty. That was my excuse at the time. I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I accidentally got drunk my first time at 11 years old. I say it was an accident because I was just thirsty. I drank more and I didn't know because I seen my dad drink it, my real dad. So the first day and only day of my life, listen to this is true. The only day of my life I ever spent with my real dad, I got drunk. 'Cause the rest of my life, I never spent another day with him. And I'll talk about the third life, which is be a little bit, which is very important too. Okay, then I'll come back. But in your third life, you become a parent, and that's a hard, hard thing to be a mom, to be a dad. You know, that's a hard thing. And how are you going to raise your baby? Because that's what you'll have. And someday you're going to all have to make this decision. How am I going to raise my baby? What does I want my baby to remember me like? Do I want my baby to remember me as somebody that drinks all the time? That smokes all the time?
Wiggle.
That does drugs? You know? You see a McGeezy? What did you see? Oh, say nothing.
There's like two.
He said he's seen an eagle.
Those are
But think about your someday you'll become a parent. That's what I'm talking about. And that's where Jesse's at. You see, he's doing his best to try to raise you all, his kids, as his children. You know, he's doing his best to try to be a good role model for you. A lot of children don't have that. You see what I'm saying? Listen to this. A lot of kids don't have a dad in their life. You know that? You know that, right? Yeah. Some kids don't have. I didn't have my real dad in my life. Baby Shark still has not met his dad. He's 4 years old. He's never met his dad. That's sad too, you know. And I know it was hard for my dad, you know, watching me growing up and not being there. But that's a hard life, being a dad, being a mom. You know, you got responsibilities. The ideal world is right now, is, you know, you have a mom and a dad, and they're married. They have a child. They raise their child. But for a lot of us as Anishinaabe, I don't like to use that word Indian. I use Anishinaabe. Anishinaabe, what it means as original people. As Anishinaabe, it's really hard because a lot of us don't grow up with both parents. That's the ideal world, you know, that you grow up with both of your parents. I don't think any of you just have that. I know I didn't. I had a stepdad. Wasn't my real dad. I didn't know that. But those are some of the challenges that we grow up with. But if you have a dad like you guys have, Jesse, I'm very proud of him and what he does. Trying to teach you things. How can you return the favor? Show him. He wants you to not drink. He wants you not to do drugs, not use alcohol, not take pills, not even try it one time. Think of that. Because if once you try it one time, then it gets easier to try it the second time. If you can stop that first time, that's the key. Okay? You can not drink the first time. You cannot smoke the first time. Baby Shark never seen me smoke. You know that? You see me smoke a pipe, cigarettes. You know what the number one killer of people is right now? Not guns. You know what kills people more than anything else? It's not cars. What it is something that's legal. Yeah. Smoking. Cigarettes. Huh? Think of that. More people die from cigarettes than anything else. Example, for me, my mom, she died from COPD. My grandma, Mary, died from lung cancer. You see? So for me, in our way, just to help teach them, a teaching rather, is to honor them. And so by me not smoking is my way of honoring them. And yes, I did smoke cigarettes for many years. But I'm saying your third life is a parent, right? No, your fourth life is where I'm at. We become a grandpa. We become an elder. Huh? If you're lucky to have, are you cold? Are you cold? Better come sit up. If you're lucky to have somebody that can that you can raise like him, to me this is the best gift of my lifetime. Is this little guy here? Best gift, because he was given to me when he was born, and he's pretty much ever since he come home from the hospital, he slept with me. He still sleeps with me. You know, we sleep together, get up together, do everything together. There's a lot of things that are different in today's world. I talked about ceremony a little bit, okay? He went to Medewan ceremony. He's first degree Medewan. He went to first degree in the same ceremony I went through second degree. 2 years ago, I took him to a powwow and he danced. At 2 years of age, he danced at his first powwow. And that's why I keep his hair long. He don't like to comb it like me. I don't comb mine too much either. But I keep his hair long. You see? He's going to have braids. He's going to grow up. It's going to be hard for him in school because kids will tease him. Huh? Kids will tease him about, oh, you look like a girl. Why do you have long hair? And as Anishinaabe kids, that's what we have to live with. When I got involved, and I'll come back to talking about being an elder, but when I got involved in 1966 at this center in Minneapolis, it was the Indian Youth Center, AIYC, American Indian Youth Center, right on 13th and Franklin. And actually, how I got involved there was kind of an accident, huh? So we were at school over there at Phillips Junior High School. And I can't remember, I was 13, so I might have been in the 7th or 8th grade. I don't remember exactly what grade I was in. Maybe the 8th, I don't know. But I wrote on a piece of paper, Joe BigBear for president. And Laura Downman was sitting there, and she said, oh, you're running for president? I said, yeah, just kidding. And then Katie and Katie Turner and a couple others said, hey, Diane. A few others said, hey, Joe's running for president. I said, I was going, huh? They were having elections for the American Indian Youth Center on Franklin. And it was that weekend. And they said, hey, let's all get behind Joe. I was going, huh? Sure. So I went over there. I had to fill out a little piece of paper, put my name in there, for president. And you know what? I got about 400 votes. And next closest person got maybe 10 votes. Everybody around the whole south side voted for me. Because all these kids went out and started putting my name up on the walls. Vote for Joe, and they started bringing people in. And I was the chair of the Indian Youth Center at 13 years old. And then at that time, guess what was happening in South Minneapolis? Cops were assaulting Anishinaabe. All up and down Franklin. A lot of our people were being hurt. It was before detox. You know, from Cedar Avenue over there down to about Nicollet, they said there was 17 bars and liquor stores. And that's barely about a mile long. 17. You imagine just, bar after liquor store. There was a lot of drinking. But cops were abusing our people. And one of our very first meetings, George Mitchell said, "Hey, we're having a meeting. This guy's getting out of jail, and he wants to use our basement." So, this guy come in there and he started talking about, we got to stop this. Police are abusing our people, assaulting our people. We got to stop this. And that guy's name was Noah Kamig. Noah Kamig. His name is Dennis Banks. And he said, we want to start going out there and helping our own people. We have to step up. We have to start helping. So that's what we did. We started organizing. We went out. I was barely, I was a little guy. Gotta think, 13 years old. Not only was that, I thought I was pretty tough because I was on the boxing club. George Mitchell and Rudy Pacheco was the boxing coach. I was on the boxing club. I was a good boxer, boy. But anyways, 13 years old, I was a solid 112 pounds. Who's 112? How much you weigh? Anyways, I was 112. I thought I was tough. 112. Think of that. I was a pretty little dude. I was a little dude. I was a flyweight. But I was fast. I would box anybody. I wasn't scared of anybody either. I never was. I never have been. But anyways, we start going out and to the bars, starting about closing time, about 8 o'clock at night until about 2 in the morning. That was how long our patrol was, every day. But mostly Fridays and Saturdays. But mostly Fridays and Saturdays we get out there at patrol. There was a lot of our people being abused by cops. So you think of what's going on right now. People are being abused by cops. A lot of them are black males. Not too many females. But it's going on. In fact, there's more happening throughout Chicago. There was a couple days ago, there was a 13-year-old boy that was shot. And they showed a videotape where he turned around and he put his hands up. The cops still shot him. Even after he turned around and put his hands up. 13 years old. That cop shot him. Now, that videotape, it looked like he had a gun, and he just threw it there. And he went like that. See, in a split second, he threw that gun, but he had put his hand up. When that cop said, turn around, put your hands up. So he had that gun, he threw it, put his hands up. The cop's order, drop your weapon, turn around, put your hands up. He did that. still got shot. That's why protests are breaking out in Chicago. They started last night. First time. Not only that, several other cities. Sure, he shouldn't have been out at 2 o'clock, you know. Sure, he shouldn't have had a gun. But when is it okay to shoot somebody? Especially somebody that listens to your commands. That's what people are so angry about. But anyways, I want to get back to just talking about the AIM Patrol. That's why it started. It was all about because of the police and what they were doing to Anishinaabe. Now I'll just mention this word Indian first, okay? We got a very famous real Indian right now. And her name is Kamala, I think I'm saying that right, Kamala Harris. She's a real Indian, vice president. Real Indians come from India. Remember how Trump was going to take the Indians and send them back to their own country? He was going to send all the Indians back to India. Holy cow, I didn't want to be an Indian anymore. I would have been over in India. You guys are all smirking. Wow, you would have sent me to India. So I'm Anishinaabe. But that word Anishinaabe, there's a lot to break it down. Just like the word Ojibwe, there's a lot to break that down. And my name's Jungwewe Gabo. There's the strong voice. Ogama Benesi. What's his name? Are you sleeping? Oh. See that? See how much he likes me? Comes right there and goes right to sleep. Ogama Benesi. That's what he does. Sometimes he'll just say, well, I'm tired, and he'll go right to sleep. No matter where we're at. And he did it again. But that AIM Patrol came out of that. And the lady, Harlan Donnan, who was my best friend, him and I, that second year, Harlan became the chairman of the Indian Youth Center. And then the year after that, we only had a 1-year term. Next year after that, I went back and ran again. But in 1969, this one of our traditions. Okay, I'll just talk about a tradition. There's two things. There's traditions, and there's traditional. Okay, and those are two distinct, separate things. But one of my friends, that man that was starting the American Indian movement, he became one of my best friends. His name was Dennis Banks. And what he did, he said, we were having a powwow, and powwows were illegal. It was illegal to have a powwow. This was 1969. We were at St. Stephen's school down in their basement. And he says, Joe, come on outside. I want to talk to you. I said, oh, okay. I don't know what he wanted to talk to me about. But he said, he told me, he said his mom died. He said, I lost my mom. And he said, because I lost my mom, and it's hard for me, I want to do something to help you. He said, what we do is we don't dance anymore. He said, for at least a year. That's what he said. We give up dancing for at least a year. But he said, I want to give all my outfit, everything that I had away. And I'm hoping you'll use it. That's what he said to me. He said, here's what I'm giving you. He gave me a bustle, a back bustle. And then he gave me 2 arm bustles, right? Then he gave me this breastplate, and then we call it apron. He gave me a front and back apron. And he gave me a set of bells. And And that became my very first dance outfit. And I got it from Dennis Banks. But I was honored to have that. And that was back in 1968 was the year he gave me that. And he said every powwow you go to, you add one thing. He said putting an outfit together, and that's what I'm trying to talk to you about, is hard. And nobody's gonna do it for you. Nobody's gonna give you a whole good dance outfit. You have to work for it. That's one of our traditional teachings and one of our traditional ways. Just like the sweat lodge, learning even how to build them, learning how to become a dancer, as a singer. It's up to you. If you want to learn how to sing, if you want to learn how to dance, you have to figure it out. You know? And I honored Dennis. I became a fancy dancer. And I danced, in Chicago, out over on Navy Pier. I got to get over there. I went to Bismarck. I was up at Red Lake, Mille Lacs, all different reservations. Leech Lake, Cass Lake, Upper Sioux, Lower Sioux. And when they were starting that reservation at Shakopee, I was one of the very first fancy dancers over there. Back then. And I was honored again, by Dennis being named the Indian Youth of the Year in 1969. I was born in 53, so I was 16 years old. Indian Youth of the Year. I was very proud because I was dancing and doing things good. Okay, then I got out on the streets. I started goofing off. Started making mistakes. You know why? I started drinking. A little bit. 12-pack of beer, no big deal. But then I started mixing it with hard liquor. Started mixing it with the shots of whiskey or shots of wine. My dad, Jimmy Weaver, hey Dad, you got anything? Yeah, come on over here, sit down. We drink some wine together. Oh, I better go get some more, and I'd give him some money because he didn't work back then. I'd give him some money, he'd go get some more and sit around and drink wine. So by the time I was 16 years old, I got in trouble, and they sent me to Glen Lake. I was there for when you get sent up, you remember everything. 5 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. That's almost 6 months I was sent up. And they wouldn't let me go home. They said, you gotta go live with your grandma. My grandma was the only one that would take me in. And they wouldn't let me go home with my mom because there was too much drinking. So I was pretty sad, but they let me go home with my mom. And my grandma said to me that next morning, I want to talk to you. Here's what she said to me. And this is an important lesson for you all to remember this, because my grandma said it to me. So I'm telling you, I'm talking about elders. She said, I'm an old lady now. I don't work. I only get Social Security. And with my check, I pay my rent, I pay my light bill, I pay my phone bill. And if I have a little bit money left, I like to go to bingo. And I only get my check once a month. She said, if you want anything, no matter what it is, you figure it out and do it yourself. You're old enough now. You know, I was 16 years old. And she said, so I did. You want to get a driver's license? Go work someplace. Don't ask me for money. So I did. I went to the car wash, and it was $53. I remember that. I went to the car wash, and back then they wouldn't hire you unless you were 18, and I said, yeah, I'm 18. I didn't have no idea though, but I'm 18, so they hired me. Day labor, yeah, I'm 18. I'm not old enough. They hire me. You know what we were making back then? Think about that. $1.10 an hour. $1.10. That's what we were making. But I saved up $53 to get my driver's ed because I wanted to do things right, like my grandma said. Finally got my money, and she signed for me to go to driver's ed. Doing things right. You know, I got my driver's license. Guess what was next? $75 more. My first car. Yeah, got my first car. I was lucky back then they didn't require you to have insurance, huh? That came later. That wasn't required. But I had my car. I drive my grandma around. Drive me to bingo. I drive her to bingo. Pick me up at 11:30 when it's over, so I go pick her up. Drop her off at 7, pick her up at 11:30. Boy, I was her cab there for a while. And then I got a job. Not only that, I was able to drive people to work. I got a job out in Mound, Minnesota at Tonka Toys. Not only that, I got my first apartment, right? I had my own place. Here I'm 16 years old, driver license, car, I had my own place. All because my grandma said, if you want something, figure it out and do it yourself. Don't count on anybody. Don't ask anybody. So that's the lesson that I want to share with you all. And those others that will listen here and listen to this, The lesson is for not to count on other people, Don't become dependent on other people for things. But just talking a little bit about AIM, the American Indian Movement, what they do is important. Trying to help our people, our Anishinaabe. What we do, and the things I do now, I run this sweat lodge here. These ceremonies. This is important. I don't know how many people since put this lodge here in 1991. Been just in this one spot since we moved here. That first week we were here, I come out here and build this, and Sheila was kind of saying, what are you doing? This helps me. This helps me. By February of 1973, I ended up in a treatment center for alcohol because my drinking got too bad. I never got a DWI, even though I drank and drove. I never got caught. I was lucky about that. But 1973, I'm 20 years old now, right? Went all the way to Warm Springs, Oregon, and came back. And when I came back, I got in a fight. And remember how tough I was? Well, I hurt somebody pretty bad. In August of 1972, I was 19 years old. Got in a fight, and I beat somebody up so bad he ended up in a hospital for 3 weeks. At first, they didn't think he was going to live. I was charged with assault. I was drinking, got carried away. I hurt somebody too much, and I sobered up. So February 1, 1973, I went to a treatment center. I was there for 2 weeks. Think of that, just 2 weeks. And if you're smart, you learn things the first time. And you carry that lesson the rest of your life. That's what I was able to do, you know. Hopefully you don't have, they talk about when you get on, we call it the Bima Diziwan, huh? When you're living the good life, you're on that trail. You're going to have struggles on that trail that you might go off that way into jail. You might have to go that way with your health or something. You might go that way, do things wrong, making mistakes. But you always kind of pull yourself back. And you try to keep yourself on that, they call it the Bima Diziwan, that good trail. But nobody's going to keep you on that trail. You have to figure it out yourself. You know? Making those decisions when your friends want to say, oh, let's try smoking once. My Aunt Sharon, she's the one that taught me how to smoke. She said, you know, how do you smoke? I was holding that cigarette. She put it right here like that. She said, you hold smoke like that. So I would always smoke like that because that's how she taught me. That was a bad lesson. My aunt, who I love dearly, she showed me something bad that I carried in my life. And I smoked cigarettes a lot. They say it might start with just trying it one time, and that's what I'm trying to say. Don't try it that one time. Try not to do that. Try to grow up without that. If you're living in, you know, Minneapolis especially, or even a lot of our reservations, you know, you're being, like, especially weekends, if you find you get bored with nothing to do. You're home. Nobody else is there except other friends. Hey, let's get some beer. Let's have fun. It's not really fun. It's legal once you turn, I think, 18 or 21. I don't even know what the legal age is anymore. But once you get to that age, you can do it. And you know, for me, it was when I got off probation and I had that chance again to do whatever I wanted to do. My friend and I, Harlan and I, we talked about when we turned 70, maybe we should go to Las Vegas and go get drunk together. That's only a couple more years for me, you know, a couple more years. I told him I would back then. You know, he's been gone a couple of years now. Maybe I'll do it just for him, but something to think about. You know, we have to make those choices. We have to try to keep ourselves strong. But anyways, Baby Shark, I put him to sleep. Just you got a good song. I'm thinking about a traveling song. That's a good song. This traveling song is for not just for the ones on their journey, but it's a song for each of you. You know, you four young people sitting here. Wherever you go, you're going to be traveling. And you think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a very sacred number. You know, you think of that. Do you know you have 7 holes in your head? What? Think of that. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, that's 4. 2 nose holes in your mouth. You got 7 holes in your head. You know, think about that. It's a sacred number. Wabanung, Jawanung, Ngabinung, Giwaden, Ishpeming, Aki, Nawi. Those are the 7 directions. You think about that. 7 is sacred. So there's the reason that there's 7 of us here and our lessons. You know, there's a reason. This probably won't happen again, where I'm able to sit and talk to you and tell you things. You know, I'm trying to warn you in your lifetime. Someday, maybe 50 years from now, you'll think back. Remember when we were sitting in the woods? My spirit helpers, we call them matig. Matig. You see all these trees? These are all my spirit helpers. All of these. They all help me. These trees have life. You know, they have like a heartbeat. Just like you got a heartbeat. Just think of that. The water starts from the ground and it goes all the way to the end of the tree. To the little tiny bud at the end of the tree. You notice some of these trees are getting buds. How does that water get to the end over there? It's from the water that goes all the way through that. That nibi, that water is life to a tree. It's like a tree's blood. So yeah, they have to, you know, take care of it the best as they can. Just like you have to take care of yourself as best as you can. You know, some of them, you know, there's no two trees, think of that are exactly the same. Just like there are no two people that are exactly the same. Anyways, there's a lot more I can share and talk about, but I just wanted to thank you all for coming. And I'll just end with a little short prayer. It's Gajay Manadu, that's our creator. We say Gajay Manadu, Shaway Nimishin. We say pity us. Gajay Manadu, say that.
Gajay Manidu.
Shaway Nimishin.
Shaway Nimishin.
Shaway Nimishin.
Shaway Nimishin.
We do Kawashin.
We do Kawashin.
Shagwayaku.
Shagwayaku.
Bimasayan.
Bimasayan.
Oh, you say Gajay Manadu, Shaway Nimishin. We do Kawashin. Shagwayaku. Bimasayan. Oma Aki. Oma Aki.
Oma Aki.
Yeah, here on earth.
Here on earth.
So we're asking the grandfather to pity us and help us on our walk here on earth. That's all we're saying. We're asking the grandfather. Wow. Miigwech.
Aho, wow, that was great. Hope you guys enjoyed that. My father here, he's packed with great information and great stories that he's endured and encountered in his life. And it makes me think about a song. I'm going to close it out here with a song. I'm going to sing Ishpi Ming. It's all above us. Talks about, what's that song talk about?
Clouds.
Ishpi Ming Baba Ayayan Ingo Dago
Coming back
Oma Ke Wayan
here on earth.
Way higher. So I'm going to sing that song there because it makes me think about everything that's above us and all around us and watching us and protecting us and keeping us safe as we endure on our journey here on earth. So I'm going to sing this Ishpa Ming song, couple push-ups, and then we'll call it a day. So. Hey, Thank you, everybody. Culture is prevention. Make sure you walk great in this two worlds. We're walking in two worlds, you know. So walk that good path, one foot in front of another, and stay straight on your path. I love you guys. I'll see you again.
Come on.